Little Sami Zayn says you should be subscribed to the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast because
You should what?
Little Sami Zayn is subscribed to the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast.
There's no. Well,
And you should, but Brock Lesnar, he not, because he not a nice guy. He real mean. He beats up little guys. So anyway, subscribe to the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast and do it right now. Do it right now. Go like the video and all that and yeah. Anyway, welcome to the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast, episode 2, brought to you by Bobby Roode. That was not my idea, but I took it. I took it anyway. So yeah, we got some stuff for you for the episode 2. We felt like episode 1 went pretty good, so we decided to do it again. And then maybe next week we'll do it again. Week after that, we might even do it again. Yeah.
Real quick, shout out to Miley. She said she's listening for me. You know, so I mean, my voice is coming. It's coming up soon. We got to let Casey do his own intro on it.
She not. But anyway, like Little Sami Zayn said, if you haven't already, subscribe. And if you haven't already, like the video. Like it right now. You're going to like it anyway. So why don't you get it out of the way right now? Just like it right now. Do it. Do it right now. If you're on Facebook Live, share the video. Share it to all your Facebook friends, your grandma, your aunt, your uncle, your weird cousin. Him too. But anyway, let's jump into these news and rumors. So our first news story came out earlier this week. Former Knockouts champion Angelina Love was granted her release from GFW. She requested her release, and they gave it to her. She put out a tweet. I forgot exactly what the tweet said. Basically, thanking Impact and GFW for everything that they've done. Yeah, that would help if you move to the next. Yeah. Anyway,
I'm dealing with a difficult dog who is barking at people she already knows home, bruh. News and rumors and stuff. Talk about them.
Anyway, then we got Lio Rush reportedly coming to the NXT, which is cool. I know he's been on his sort of indie goodbye tour that he's been doing, so that's kind of cool. Hopefully, we'll see him soon. Rey Mysterio's WWE return was scrapped. He was trying to decide between going to WWE or GFW, and I guess either WWE decided they didn't want to take him, or he just didn't want to. I don't know exactly what's going on with that, but maybe we'll see him in GFW. That would be cool because that's a company. I don't think he's ever wrestled for Impact before. I'm pretty sure. So that would be cool.
Because he was at the peak of his run in WWE when, well, not necessarily the peak, but he was kind of coming into his own. Because I mean, when TNA started, that was the end of WCW era. So he was kind of really hitting his stride, I think.
Yeah. And then the final rumor is Adam Cole is rumored to debut at NXT TakeOver Brooklyn 3. So that'll be exciting if that actually happens. Hopefully it does. DJ, thoughts on any of the news or rumors?
Yeah, I was definitely interested when you kind of looking through the rumor mill / listening to Casey's version of the rumor mill. As far as Angelina Love, leaving, I'm not surprised. I know she probably wants to be with her husband after his kind of retirement or maybe semi-retirement, trying to go into the medical field and everything. So I'm not surprised at that really at all. Lio Rush NXT is going to be cool. That's going to be pretty cool, especially how they're using independent talents right now. That's going to be really cool. Rey Mysterio's WWE return. I don't know why it was scrapped. I haven't looked really into it, but interesting though, nonetheless, that it was scrapped, unfortunately, because I really like Rey Mysterio. I've always been a big fan of Rey Mysterio. Then Adam Cole, baby, coming in, supposed to be rumored to come to NXT. I'm excited for that. I love Adam Cole. He's one of my favorites. So I'm definitely, excited to see Adam Cole in NXT, hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, I think he is signed to WWE and NXT. It's just when he debuts. So hopefully it'll be at Takeover. But that would be cool. I just don't know how they would debut him. Unless I know there was rumors of like a indie takeover kind of a thing, or a Ring of Honor takeover storyline or whatever. I think that would be pretty cool if they did it right. With him, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, a couple other guys too. That'd be pretty cool. But that is your news and rumors for this week. Moving on to the top 5 botches / funny moments hosted by DJ Beal.
Alrighty, people, apologize to my Facebook Live audience. I am transitioning from one room to another, so I'm good now. Well, I'm getting there at least. So definitely excited to talk about these top 5 botches / funny moments of the week, because there's always something funny and crazy and craziness going on. I feel like in like every wrestling promotion, there's always something like that's just like out of control or really funny or ridiculous or whatever. But I started out, and this was one that I personally watched. I'm not sure if Casey got a chance to watch it, but I personally watched this one. The Daniel Bryan Uso segment. I don't know who Daniel is, but that's what Casey wrote down. But I was. This was hilarious. Like, it was typical Daniel Bryan, and obviously this new character that the Usos are running with. It was awkward, but it was funny. If you get a chance to go back and watch it, it was on the most recent episode of SmackDown Live. If you get a chance to watch it, please go back and watch it. It was funny. I think this was Casey's. Jim Cornette being back in a mainstream company. Because I feel like, too, and it's a little ironic that if you don't know, last night on Destination X, the GFW show from last night, Jim Cornette, made his return to Impact TNA. I would say TNA just because it's kind of ironic. Jim Cornette has been very vocal about TNA and how quote poorly ran they were, and how much there was so much craziness going on backstage and all of this. So I just think it's ironic out of all the crazy stuff he said about TNA and the management, and obviously it's new management, but still, like, it was ironic that I know it's just now, and I know people are like, oh, it's GFW, they called it. Shut up. I can call it once, it's my show. But I don't know. Like, I felt like it was just kind of ironic is why I kind of wanted it in here. I think Casey was kind of like, it kind of caught him off guard too. That Jim Cornette was back in kind of a mainstream company, him being a little older and everything too. But it was pretty ironic. Then we had Wade Barrett in a Starbucks incident. He put his real name down, Stu Bennett, on obviously when you go to Starbucks. I don't have a lot of experience with Starbucks, but I know a little bit about it. Miley could tell you a little more about it than I could, but whenever you order, they ask for your name and they put your name on the cup and all of that, and it's kind of tradition, I guess, for Starbucks. But Wade Barrett asked to put Stu Bennett on the cup, but then when he got it back, I guess someone knew about his WWE work and knew who he was and put Wade Barrett on the cup. So that was pretty funny. I thought that was kind of just a funny little thing. Another kind of, I guess it's kind of I feel like it's kind of a botch from a journalism perspective, or more so. Well, the next one is more of a journalism perspective. This is more of a Twitter, social media perspective. But John Cena's Raw debut was leaked by the Barclays Center's Twitter account that he'll be on Monday Night Raw after SummerSlam. He has been running with this free agent type of thing for a little bit. So that'll be funny as far as like when that comes around, like how that's going to be, like how they're going to get around that, what are they going to do to a little more of a surprise or a little bit more unexpected, I guess. And then we had the misreporting of the Ric Flair surgery. Like, everybody was reporting on it, and say a lot of it was misreported, which is kind of a botch within itself from a journalism perspective. Because yes, knowing, being a journalist in a couple of different aspects, I understand how you want to get the story out and you want to get the story out quickly, but you also got to kind of know what you're talking about. So, but it's interesting. But I'm hoping that Ric Flair is getting better. Haven't heard anything any worse than what it was. I'm not sure about any updates per se, but we haven't heard anything that's any worse, so that's a good thing. I know he did have some sort of surgery, and hopefully he's recovering, and is my hope. But Casey, any thoughts on the top 5 funny moments / botches of the week?
Well, I didn't see the Daniel Bryan or the Daniel Bryan Usos segment, so I'm gonna have to check that out. Oh, oh God, I hate this man. Like, I don't think people really understand how much I hate it. Like, I hate him more than I used to hate John Cena.
We got a video on how much he hates this man.
But see, I was surprised with this because Jim Cornette is so like old school, and he's like, there should be like this, and there's all these innovations shouldn't be happening, none of that flippy dippy stuff, blah blah blah. That's what Impact has been about, the innovation and changing the business. And now we have Jim Cornette in there, like it just.
I mean, and yes, he was there before.
Yeah, but like to me, it just doesn't. I don't think it'll last long. I really don't. I thought the Wade Barrett thing was kind of funny. Barclays Center. Apparently, they've botched a lot of WWE news, like reporting things before WWE does. I think they reported that SummerSlam is going to be at Barclays Center again next year before WWE did. So I just want to be in like Vince McMahon's office to see if he's really getting mad at this or if he just doesn't care. Because I would personally care if I'm trying to keep something secret and then the venue that the show's going to be at ruins the surprise. I would be upset about that personally. And then the news misreporting Ric Flair's surgery, I'm not surprised. But all in all, I just hope he's okay. I know, with all the years of abuse on his body physically, with, all the alcohol, drugs and stuff from the 80s, and then just physically in the ring, it's catching up to him. So I just hope he's okay, and hope he pulls through. But yeah, that's moving on to another segment hosted by DJ Beal.
All right, your top 5 instant classic moments of the week. Real quick, I want to, because she's just an instant classic viewer. Sarah, I got to shout out to you because I don't know how you get to our stuff as quick as you do, but you are always here. I don't know if there's like a shock, like collar or wristband or like foot bracelet. I don't know, but like you get to our stuff quicker than I've seen. You get to our stuff quicker than I get to our stuff. Like I don't know how she does it. But anyway, shout out to her and also Miley as well for coming by. If you haven't already, give us a like, share the video. If you're here, you got to share it. Like it's worth it. It's worth that one button pushing that you do. But instant classic moments. Let's jump right into it if I can find the right. I got like 8 different Word documents open, and that's like always. Like that's just how I do it, people. But anyway. We got the top 5 moments here. Destination X returns, not the actual show returns, but the people who return in it. I got the notable ones, which were the only ones: Taryn Terrell, Petey Williams, and Jim Cornette. Some of them people are happy about, some of them people aren't. I was really shocked by Taryn Terrell, especially because I think she had actually retired. Petey Williams was another kind of surprising one for me just because, I hadn't really seen him. I think he was actually set to retire not too long ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I might be wrong, but I think he was set to retire not too long ago. Next, I got LAX's consistency thing. Did we keep that one in there?
Yeah.
I can't remember if we kept that one. We did? Okay.
No, we didn't.
We didn't? Okay, I'll change that one. That was one for me, though. That was like a personal one I thought was kind of funny. Because we all know how Jim Cornette is and how he sounds and how LAX's character is and what they're trying to get rid of. I just thought it was ironic. Sydal beating Lashley. I think this one was a direct shout out from Casey the Rabbit. But
yeah,
I personally, I thought, this match was pretty good. I like the aftermath as well. I just didn't like the fact that I don't know. I just didn't like the way the ending of it. Like he should have lost when that chair shot happened instead of kind of afterwards with a roll up, but whatever. The X Division ladder match was really good. I mean, overall that show was really good. One of the best shows that Impact has had in a little bit. I feel like the ladder match was really good. There was some really cool and sick and nasty and ouchy bumps. I'm going with that. The Shield semi reunion. We're seeing Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, come together. Actually got a match coming up this Sunday at SummerSlam, so that should be definitely pretty interesting. It's definitely interesting. It's something we wanted for a while. That's why we put it on here, because we felt like we have wanted it for a while. So, I'm definitely excited to see them tagging together again. And technically kind of tagging together for the first time if we really think about it, because in the Shield it was more Reigns and Rollins in the tag team aspect than it was Ambrose. Ambrose is kind of on his own, so it'll be kind of a different spinoff on the Shield as far as tag team is concerned. Akira Tozawa winning the Cruiserweight Championship, more so the match than anything, because I thought the actual win was a horrible misbooking. I didn't like it just because you're a week away, not even a week, a little less than a week away from SummerSlam, and you're giving this title away, this title match away to then again put it on the pre-show. Makes no sense to me, but whatever. But definitely an interesting week as far as SummerSlam week is concerned, and Destination X being in there as well. It's definitely been an interesting week. Casey, did you have any thoughts on the top 5 moments from this week?
I do. I definitely liked the Sydal beating Lashley, not just because, not just to dig it rabid, but I actually thought it was a really good match. I thought it was booked well. I thought it was decently back and forth. It didn't feel like it was just completely Lashley just destroying Sydal, because Sydal did have some good, offense in there. And yes, it was a roll up, but I didn't feel like it was like a fluke victory like you would expect. I feel like Sydal did, earn that win. You know what I mean? The Destination X returns were awesome. I was so excited for Petey Williams' return. When he did the Canadian Destroyer, I almost pooped my pants, because that is one of my favorite moves ever. Also in that, I added the Chris Brothers debut, OVE, Ohio versus everything. I've watched them a bunch in the indies, so I was excited that it was them that debuted. I think they were in one of the matches on one of our Friday Night Fight app reviews back a while back. Yeah. So I was definitely excited for their debut. The X Division ladder match in general was awesome. I thought it was really good. This Shield semi reunion was pretty cool. I'm curious to see if they actually give them the titles and then kind of how that works out. And then Tozawa winning the Cruiserweight title. I'm excited that he won the Cruiserweight title. I don't like that they just gave it away. I think they should have waited for SummerSlam and had it on the actual card, not the pre-show. Because, I mean, yes, it's cool to have matches on the pre-show, but in general, I feel like it devalues whatever matches on the pre-show, just in general. Yeah. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Segment with DJ getting all the segments this week.
I know, right? I got all the segments. Real quick, since Sarah is watching and an active viewer, she mentioned the Hardys being on the pre-show. I didn't like that on the SummerSlam pre-show, and we're gonna talk about that here in a little bit when we kind of get into our weekly fantasy booking challenge. But I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like that match overall. As you will hear from me later, I didn't like any of the pre-show matches being on the pre-show. First off, the Usos versus the New Day was kind of a dumb one on the pre-show as well. All three of them are kind of stupid. Did you have any thoughts on kind of some of these matches they have on the pre-show before we jump into Overreaction Friday? Because I feel like we're going pretty fast anyway, so we got a little time to kill.
Just in general, I mean, especially with tag team matches on the pre-show, that's one thing that I feel like we complain about the most with WWE is their lack of tag teams and the weakness of the tag team division. It doesn't help when you put the matches on the pre-show, devaluing them even more. Half people don't even watch the pre-show. So right there, you're having so many people miss the match, so they're not going to care about the tag team division. We've seen on pre-shows how empty the arena is already because not everybody gets in there right quick to, get their seats. They're up, getting food or at the merch stand. I know for me personally, when I go to WWE shows, I try to hit up the merch stand first just because, by the end of the night or even halfway through the show, a lot of the stuff is gone. So why would you put matches on the pre-show that people are just going to miss? It just doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, you have 4 hours.
Yeah.
To have this show. Like, it's not that difficult to fit all of these matches in 4. Not necessarily all of these. I understand having a pre-show match, but 3 of them, it's got to be 2 hours. The pre-show. There's no way it's not. But as you said, moving on to the Overreaction. No, not that one. The Overreaction Friday. The Black Screen Friday. No, the Overreaction Friday. I don't know, for some reason I really love this segment. I don't know why, but I do. But our first overreaction or not overreaction. If you are watching, be sure to leave us leave in the comments if you think it's an overreaction or if it's not. First one is mainstream wrestlers should not shows. The reason I'm saying this is the actual another news and rumor type thing is got injured at an indie show. So I kind of threw this one in here to kind of.
You keep cutting out a lot. You want to repeat that?
Yeah, of course. I don't know why it's kind of being weird. I don't know. But anyway, got injured at an indie show, so I came up with this particular Overreaction Friday topic, which is mainstream wrestlers should not, and I mean should not. I feel like this is an overreaction. Certain guys shouldn't, obviously, and I don't even know if, but this is a hard argument because I think it's an overreaction, but I also feel like certain superstars probably shouldn't. Certain wrestlers probably shouldn't, depending on injury history and how much they wrestle on anyway. But that's the thing about the UK title. The UK title is one of those that's made and has been made to be defended in other promotions and taken to other promotions. So it's kind of a double-edged sword here, I feel like. But I definitely feel like indie guys should be able – I mean, not indie guys, but mainstream guys should be able to perform at indie shows. It helps the indie promotions and everything. I think that's an overreaction in my opinion. I know some people are against that, but I think it's an overreaction. Casey, mainstream wrestlers should not do indie shows. Overreaction, not overreaction.
I kind of have a similar response that you do. I think yes and no. Obviously, if they were booking the UK title the way that they should, and it was like, on the show, on a weekly show on WWE, then I would say no, because you don't want, if Pete Dunne was in a in a storyline on Raw or whatever, then I wouldn't, because you don't want him to get hurt. Or if he was going to be in a match in SummerSlam, then you don't want him to get hurt. But at the same time, like, for guys that aren't really being used on the main roster or aren't really being used in WWE, yeah, sure, go wrestle for an indie promotion. Go help out the indie scene. Because I feel like that both helps WWE and the whatever indie promotion they're wrestling for, because for one, it gives that indie promotion more exposure from WWE fans that maybe don't know about them. But then also, WWE fans joke now that the independent scene is sort of the farm system for WWE. So give those guys, like we said, I think we said this before, have established guys that Vince trusts or whatever, go wrestle in independent promotions. Then they can come back and say, okay, this guy's good, you should sign this guy, or this guy's not ready. I think it helps, like I said, helps both sides. But then again, like we said, you don't want your guys to get injured, so it's kind of like you said, it's a double-edged sword. So yes and no.
All right, that was a tough one. My next one is, and I'm going to start these so I don't do them twice, because I'm actually mixing up my order a little bit. But my next one is Alberto El Patron will never wrestle for a mainstream promotion again. This is coming off of the stripping him of the title and the whole domestic situation with Paige. I think this isn't a definite overreaction, and I think it's not true. I feel like, yes, it's possible that he could be done, but it's possible that he could be done, but I also feel like he's probably not. I feel like somebody will take a chance on him. Maybe even, GFW once everything is ironed out. There's a whole process to this. And there's a whole thing to this, and I feel like, everybody deserves a second chance. I wouldn't necessarily say everybody, but for the most part, you do. Everybody makes mistakes. I would say that. So, there is a second chance aspect to this that probably should go into this. I'm not sure how many times he's done this. This is the first report I've seen personally, but that's just me. So, I mean, I hope somebody else does give him a chance, if that will help him, get himself right. And, well, first, obviously, get himself right. And then if wrestling is kind of his coping mechanism to help him out, then obviously I want someone else to sign him, especially mainstream, because that's I feel like that is a dream of people's, especially wrestlers. So, Casey, Alberto El Patron will never wrestle for a mainstream promotion again. Overreaction or not an overreaction?
First of all, was he released from GFW, or was he just stripped of the title?
I don't know, because last night, if you listen to the promo by Bruce Pritchard, he said that basically he was released. But then Jim Cornette said he was stripped, but they didn't really clear that up at all. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if he was released, which I don't think so, I would say obviously not WWE. He's already had, 2 runs in WWE, and neither of them ended well, it didn't feel like. But I don't know. I feel like maybe he should take some time off and wrestle in the indies. Look what it's done for Cody Rhodes. You know what I mean? Maybe New Japan would sign him. Maybe he would go to, CMLL or AAA, who in their own right are mainstream. Obviously not everybody gets CMLL or AAA, but they are big companies. But then again, and I haven't read too much into the incident that happened with Paige, whatever. But at the same time, there are 2 sides to every story, and you have to take into consideration both of them kind of are, I don't know what the best way to put this. I guess hot-headed individuals. So when you put two people that are hot-headed into, a relationship, sometimes there's going to be arguments or fights or whatever. I don't know. Like I said, there's two sides to every story. I haven't looked too much into it just because I just kind of want everything to be done with by now. I know they're still kind of investigating whatever or what's going on, but yeah, I think even if he went to the Indies for a while, I think some company would eventually sign him again if he still wants to wrestle. So yeah, I would say slight overreaction.
Okay. The next one I have is last night's GFW Impact Wrestling show, the Destination X show, has officially turned it around, has officially turned everything around. I feel like this is an overreaction, and I'm saying overall for whatever you want to call it, GFW. I would say more so TNA because that's the 15 years of the company we've been watching for so long. So there's a period there that they have to turn around as well. I would say this is an overreaction. Last night's show was great. I loved it. I thought it was awesome. But I think last night's show was a starting point. Let's see if it stays, that way. Because I think the first show when Anthem took over was pretty good too. So, and plus it was a live show, and live shows are always better than the pre-recorded shows, even if the pre-recorded shows are solid. So I think this is a slight overreaction, and I feel like when it comes down to it, this is a starting point. Let's see what they do in the next month, 2 months, 3 months, year, whatever. Casey.
I would say overreaction, but then again, I'm one of the fans who I haven't really thought that, TNA, Impact, GFW has really been that bad. I mean, yeah, they've had shows that were nuts, and
I'm saying more so from a standpoint of the overall, like, oh, it was, TNA sucks aspect.
But
like TNA's not what it used to be aspect, I guess, more so.
And
if I can clarify.
Again, that's just fans that are going to say that. We've had fans for 15 years saying Impact is going out of business. So you have to take that with a grain of salt, I think. But I mean, obviously, it's never going to go back to the time that we want, that we miss. The Asylum days, whatever. But I think it's been good. I don't think it's been terrible. I do think they are, going into a good direction, I think. And I also like GFW too, from what I saw before they joined with Impact or TNA, whatever. So I always kind of gave them the benefit of the doubt. I know other people are like, no, it's never going to work. But I think, last night's show was definitely solid. I don't agree with bringing Jim Cornette in for a personal reason, and also how many companies have fired him before. So like, that's got to be a sign, if you've been fired from like however many jobs, I wouldn't want to hire you because it's probably going to end the same way. There's an issue with one side, and if you're getting fired, it's probably you that's the issue. I know he's very, stuck in his ways. He wants it done this way, this way, this way. A lot of people don't like him. I know back in the ROH days when he was with Ring of Honor, he had a lot of issues with, Kevin Steen at the time. So I don't know. I personally don't think that was a great idea to bring him in. I think there's other people you could have brought in, but I guess we'll see. But yeah, I think, like I said, last night's show was good. Hopefully they keep it going. But I think in general, people saying that, GFW is going downhill, blah, 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 I think it is an overreaction. I think they're just not giving it the time it needs to develop.
Okay. Speaking of downhill, my next one is wrestling as a whole is going downhill. I actually saw this comment on some sort of post. I don't remember what it was. I think it might have even been blah blah blah's leaving GFW and or something. It was something like something I saw on Facebook, and a comment actually was wrestling as a whole is going down. It has gone downhill. I and I would even venture to say is going downhill, is in the process of going downhill per se. I think this is an overreaction as well. I think that it has definitely changed. Now, I am weird and I am just excited for wrestling regardless. Even Monday Night Raw, I still get excited to watch every week because I'm just weird. But, I mean, I feel like we might be in an ironic standpoint, at a peak period of wrestling again, where there's so many promotions to choose from. They just may not be all mainstream. And I think from a wrestling fan standpoint of it and not a casual fan, this could be a peak period for the hardcore wrestling fan. So I think this is an overreaction. Casey, wrestling as a whole has gone downhill. Overreaction or not an overreaction?
Overreaction. I think to an extent at certain times, like mainstream wrestling kind of goes downhill a little bit with, WWE's weird booking and stuff like that. And obviously we're not in, the wrestling boom period like we were in like the Attitude Era where everybody knew about WWE, even if you weren't a fan, or like, everyone knew who Stone Cold Steve Austin was. Everyone knew who The Rock was. I mean, most people know who John Cena is, but not everybody knows, who Randy Orton is, or, Brock Lesnar and things like that. But I do think in general, there's so many promotions out that are doing really good that I think that, at least with the indies, it's definitely going up. You see new companies coming out all the time, and, companies that have, been small growing bigger. It even shows with WWE starting to notice a lot more indie guys and starting to actually work with independent promotions, at least in the UK now. Hopefully they'll start to work with, US based indie promotions eventually. But I don't think it's going downhill in general. Like I said, it's not at that big peak boom period like we were in the Attitude Era or, the early 2000s. But I think it's doing good. Kind of like DJ said, especially for the hardcore fans who don't mind having to, go on to, New Japan World or watch wrestling or whatever. Even if you have to go on your computer to watch things, it's still a boom period. Because it feels like every promotion has some sort of like video library or some sort of, monthly paid subscription now that you can watch. So I would say that's definitely an overreaction, that it's going downhill.
All right. I hope I'm not muted anymore. I dropped my microphone. That's why I muted myself, and I muted myself. It's a weird concept. But anyway, and sometimes you forget if you unmute yourself because it's like, did I? Am I talking and no one can hear me? But anyway, last one for Overreaction Friday before we move on to the weekly booking challenge, hosted by Casey. I actually got this one from Brandon Burnett, who was on both of our prediction shows earlier this week. And I've heard a lot of people say this, but I know he notably said it, and I kind of took it from him a little bit. 4 hours of SummerSlam is just too long. Overreaction or not an overreaction? I'm going with also an overreaction because I think it would be different if SummerSlam, or if every pay-per-view was 4 hours and like every one of them felt long. But I feel like when it comes to, especially more so Mania, I don't feel like it's terribly long. It doesn't, in my personal opinion, doesn't always feel terribly long. And I feel like SummerSlam is in the same aspect as that. And it may just be because it just recently made the change. So I think this is an overreaction. I don't agree. I actually like SummerSlam being 4 hours as long as everything else doesn't become 4 hours. Casey, SummerSlam is 4 hours. SummerSlam is just too long.
Overreaction, yeah, I would say. First of all, I was at WrestleMania, which was a 6-hour show, I think, in the Florida heat. So anyone who complains about SummerSlam being 4 hours can just shut up right now. All right, shut up. And it really, it's only one more hour than Raw, and the benefit that it has, hopefully, if they book it right, is we don't have all these stupid, in-ring segments and backstage segments and promos that are pointless that, make Raw so hard to watch. And if they book the matches right, they could be good matches. Obviously, there's a couple duds in there that we didn't approve of, but if they, give these matches the time that they deserve, then 4 hours, I don't think is especially for a big 4 pay-per-view. I don't think is an overreaction, or I think is an overreaction. I don't think it's too long.
All right, that was the last one, by the way.
Okay, yeah. Moving on to the Instant Classic Wrestling podcast.
The what?
I can say the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast Weekly Challenge. This week, we are taking one match from SummerSlam, removing it, throwing it in the trash, flushing it down a toilet, and we are adding one match. So basically, we're taking a match that we don't want on the show and putting a match that we do want on the show. I am removing the Big Show versus Big Cass with Enzo in a shark cage. Dear God, what? They need to throw that shark cage away. They've used it so many times in the past year and a half, it feels like. And what I would add, first of all, and I kind of hinted on this earlier in the week, unfortunately, we do have to we have to strip Jinder Mahal of its title for this to happen. We do. I would do a fatal 5-way because WWE loves fatal 5-ways for some reason. For the WWE title, I would have Shinsuke Nakamura versus AJ Styles versus Finn Balor versus Seth Rollins versus a main roster debuting Aleister Black. And I know some of these guys are on Raw, some of them are on SmackDown. So whoever wins, the title would go to that show, and then, the Universal title would flip. That would be a really good match, especially for the title. I didn't want to make it a 6-way because I don't think we love Jinder Mahal, but I don't think he's ready for a match with guys like that. But DJ, what was your SummerSlam match you would take out and add?
Okay, I'm going to the pre-show. Not necessarily saying my match will be on the pre-show, but I mean, I would probably put my match on the pre-show, move Akira Tozawa versus Neville to the actual main show, because, and probably actually have Neville be the champion so we can have that big moment for Tozawa at SummerSlam, because logically that would make sense. Anyway, Miley, by the way, I love Jinder, the modern day Maharaja. Anyway,
I love Jinder too. He just with Nakamura, Balor, AJ Styles, and Seth Rollins and Aleister Black, he's just not going. No,
he don't fit in. Anyway, that's the whole storyline. Dang on it, he don't fit. Anyway, I'm taking out this 6-man tag team match: the Hardy Boys and Jason Jordan. Sorry, Sarah. Versus the Miz and the Miztourage. I love the Miz and the Miztourage. I love the Hardy Boys, and I love Jason Jordan. But this match is dumb. This match is stupid, and this match should not be on the card. Should not be on the card at all. First off, the Miz should be defending his Intercontinental Championship, maybe against Jason Jordan, if nothing else. Not in this stupid 6-man tag match that makes no sense. That's dumb, and I hate it. I'm replacing it with Rich Swann versus TJP, because I felt like this match shouldn't have happened on the most, not not the most recent 205 Live show, but the one before that. And they should have had a second cruiserweight showcase type of matchup with TJP and Rich Swann on the show. They could have put it on the pre-show, would have been okay. But it would have been a good match to put on here to showcase the cruiserweights, which is what we want to do. That's what I'm doing. I mean, and I guess for a second one, you could put Jason Jordan versus The Miz, hypothetically, but either one.
Okay. And finally, next week's hype, bro. What we're excited for next week. We are excited for next week's GFW show to see, you know, how things continue. There's a gauntlet match that I'm excited for. You know,
the funny part about that, Casey, I was so mad about the gauntlet match being made next week. Yeah. But then again, I keep saying TNA, GFW booking themselves a weekend ahead, which is what we want.
Yeah. And then the fallout for TakeOver and SummerSlam. Obviously, the shows haven't happened, but whatever happens, you know, we're always excited for the fallout after takeovers and the fallout after, especially Big Four pay-per-views. DJ, thoughts on either one of those?
Yeah, I gave my piece on GFW, and I definitely agree. Especially Big Four pay-per-views, because you never know who's going to debut. You never know how things will change. John Cena's supposed to be debuting. Thanks a lot, Barclays Center, on Raw. So I don't know. It's definitely exciting, though. I'm definitely excited to see where it's going to go.
All right. Well, that was episode 2 of the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, our weekly show. Make sure to like the video, like we said. Subscribe to the channel. Leave your comments on any segment that we had, your thoughts, because we want to hear from you guys too. Except for you, Miley, we don't want to hear nothing. Nothing. Don't say a word. Don't say. Also, Sarah, this show was indeed brought to you personally by Bobby Roode. We will see you next week. But before that, our next show will be tonight. We have our GFW review. We're going to be doing that. Tomorrow we have TakeOver review. And then Sunday we have SummerSlam review. So excited for those. Make sure you tune in for those. And we will see you on the flippity dippity. I feel like I haven't said that in a long time, but it feels good.
Man, it's a shame you said it tonight.
It feels good. We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh, yeah.